Hello, welcome or welcome back to my channel. Being a content creator requires some level of performance and inauthenticity. You have to think about your angles, you have to fake yourself waking up in the morning, and you also have to redo your actions multiple times just to make it more aesthetically pleasing and engaging, which are all things you wouldn't normally do if you weren't recording yourself. It's no secret that for many years, women have led the influencer space in categories such as lifestyle, beauty, and fashion. From the early days of mommy bloggers to the rise of Instagram and YouTube, women have been able to build entire careers by sharing their routines, their style, and their daily lives. And for the most part, this type of content is widely accepted as a legitimate career for women, with brands willing to pay thousands and even hundreds of thousands of dollars for a single post because they recognize the influence these creators have over their dedicated audience. However, for men who want to make the same kind of lifestyle content, it's a completely different story. Male creators who try to make get ready with me, morning routines, and spend the day with me content don't receive the same level of social support from other men. So instead of being seen as aspirational or relatable, their content is often dismissed or mocked. There's almost this unspoken rule about what type of content is quote-unquote acceptable for male influencers. Gaming, comedy, finance, and fitness would be considered as acceptable. But the moment a man starts making content about his daily routine, his personal style, or even grooming, it's suddenly considered embarrassing, cringe, or corny. So while women's lifestyle content is widely accepted as normal, men who create similar content face skepticism about their authenticity and even get questioned about their level of masculinity. This is Drew Walls. He went viral almost a year ago for filming himself going to Target, the most basic life activity and something nearly every other female lifestyle influencer does on a regular basis. People found this video, as well as his other content, corny, mainly because he showed himself getting ready and filming different angles of himself walking around the store. He was also mocked because of the obvious use of a tripod. Because his video had so many angles, it was very obvious that he would have had to set up multiple shots inside and outside of Target, as well as having to record himself driving away and parking his car. And even though that sounds like a long and tedious process, it is standard procedure for all creators who film lifestyle content. Not to mention, the content of his videos were harmless, and the different angles actually made them interesting to watch. But unfortunately, that wasn't enough to stop the relentless bullying that he faced. He was dragged online for weeks, with people making parodies of his content and joking about just how much effort that he put into filming a simple Target run. Despite the online bullying, he managed to turn this attention into something profitable. He was able to build a solid following with strong engagement, with his videos pulling in thousands of likes and comments, which then led to him landing brand deals with major companies like ESPN and Dove. Drew was able to survive and overcome so much negative attention, which should have otherwise been enough to make him quit, but luckily he didn't. However, not everyone can stand the heat or has that much willpower, and so for other young boys and men who may have considered creating similar content, seeing the relentless ridicule that Drew faced is more than enough to make them never press record and never post their content. The fear of being mocked, not just by strangers online, but by their own friends and family in real life, might make them feel like this kind of content just isn't worth the risk. And if you look at what happened to Drew, that is a fair conclusion to make. And so the only options these young boys and men have left are the quote-unquote socially acceptable male content like gaming and fitness, or they can pivot to an exaggerated and hyper-masculine version of lifestyle content. So we've already established that lifestyle content like get ready with me, errand vlogs, spend the day with me, and morning routines aren't viewed as socially acceptable for men the same way it is for women, and that most male influencers stick to the quote-unquote approved male niches like fitness and gaming. However, not all men have the same interests, and some men will still want to create lifestyle content. But instead of making casual, everyday videos, which would be seen as too feminine and would get them ridiculed online, some male influencers have decided to take it to the extreme by showcasing hyper-disciplined, ultra-masculine routines that feel almost military-like, while still placing an emphasis on keeping up with appearances, as seen with just how much time is spent on personal grooming, like doing skincare. And in my opinion, I would categorize this style of content as the Patrick Bateman aesthetic. Patrick Bateman is a fictional character in the 1991 novel American Psycho, which was adapted into a film of the same name in 2000, with Christian Bale playing the titular role. The character is a wealthy investment banker who obsessively strives for perfection in his appearance, his work, and his personal life. There are many complexities when it comes to his character, but the one that I want to highlight now is how he views and treats women. In American Psycho, the women in Patrick's life rarely exist as full people. Instead, they are accessories to his image and used as a way to reinforce his own power, wealth, and status. And in a strangely similar way, I've noticed that many of these hyper-masculine lifestyle influencers treat the women in their content as a way to reinforce their own power, wealth, and status. And they do so by treating the women as props. When you watch a female influencer, the people in her life exist naturally in the background. And sometimes they even participate in the videos by showing off things like their outfits or giving their opinion on something like a food review. But with these male influencers, the women in their lives are reduced to a pair of working hands, only there to serve them in carefully curated shots. You have these visually macho and successful guys who present themselves as experts in self-discipline. They wake up before the crack of dawn, they journal, they meticulously plan their workouts, they follow strict diets, and they put great effort into their skincare routines. Yet despite all that supposed planning and discipline, they either don't know or outright refuse to make their own breakfast, pick up their own items for their videos, or even put on their own clothes. There's a clip that I saw from one of these videos where the woman literally had to lay out his shoes for him to step into. And all of that is extremely jarring to watch. They push the idea of extreme self-sufficiency, yet their own routines clearly rely on outside help. And whether or not that help comes from interchangeable hired staff or a real partner, it's not an arrangement that their average fans will have access to. But let's consider that the people in these videos are their paid assistants, and the content is more like a TV production and isn't meant to be taken as a reflection of real life. But that argument doesn't really hold up because they are still selling products and courses to average men and boys based on the lifestyle that they are portraying online.
Listen, if you're looking to start your own online coaching business, you want to build your personal brand, you want to learn how I built mine, I want you guys to comment the word online coach at the bottom, and I'll send you over a PDF of free game. There's no more waiting. Comment now. If I can do it, why not you?
But again, let's also consider this scenario. Let's say that the women in these videos aren't paid assistants and instead they are their actual romantic partners. Well, if they are, it's not that realistic to expect someone to wake up at 3 a.m. just to help you get dressed, make your breakfast, and handle everything outside of your own personal grooming. And so the most likely situation in such cases is that these influencers are making enough money from their content, and the money they earn allows them to financially compensate their partners, or it allows their partners to not have to work traditional jobs, and instead, it gives these women the free time in order to help their influencer partners make their videos.
I've been doing this now for over 4 years, and we have made millions off of social media. The first month I went online, I kid you not, true freaking story. I went from $10,000 per month to $20,000 the first month. $20,000. I had one person helping me. It was me, my assistant, and we were closing the deals and taking care of the clients. After that, we started bragging about the results. We went from $20,000. The next month, we did $38,000 in 1 month. And now we do multiple six figures per month. Why are you still working your 9 to 5?
But like I mentioned earlier, for the average guy who isn't earning that kind of money, He cannot afford to have this kind of arrangement with a romantic partner. And even if the message is that men should hire help in order to have these same kind of routines as these influencers, doesn't that completely contradict the message of self-improvement and self-discipline that is promoted in their videos?
When you're waking up at 3:30, look at this girl with the nice nails, put this ice and breakfast and all these things in front of my face. Are you two? I can never see a woman put a man's shoes in front of him and he steps into them without thinking, that is your son. Mother and son. It takes the sting out of the, oh, I woke up at 3 a.m. for mommy to feed me. And I'm like, which men are like, oh yeah, this is my comfort creator. Why are you up at 4 a.m. if you can't do it yourself? And even like the bowl of ice, it's like, so who's clicking the camera? Who's doing the real work? And what is the purpose of it happening before 5 a.m.?
This style of content may not be your personal preference, but it's so exaggerated and slightly entertaining that it easily grabs people's attention. Arguably, the most popular creator in this niche is Ashton Hall. His videos rack up millions of views, and he has amassed over 8 million followers on Instagram. He recently went viral this past week and has become somewhat of a sensation, but he's more than just a meme. His influence has real-world impact. The Saratoga water brand featured in his videos went from being a relatively unknown brand to gaining cultural and social relevance. His routine has also been covered by major publications like Business Insider and is being imitated not just by hundreds or even thousands of people, but also by public figures like Piers Morgan and Mr. Beast, who even invited him for a collaboration. So at this point of the video, you may be wondering, why is content like Drew Hall's mocked, and why does he have his masculinity questioned, while male influencers who make the Patrick Bateman inspired routine videos don't face the same level of questioning? The simple answer as to why their style of content isn't mocked or seen as less manly is because their presentation still aligns with traditional ideas of masculinity. Their content has these same widely accepted male themes, such as hustle culture, bodybuilding, money, cars, and of course, women. And all these themes can also be found in content made by finance bros, fitness bros, and motivational lifestyle bros. And the only real difference that sets the extreme lifestyle niche apart from these guys is that they focus more on personal grooming and looking good outside of just working out. And I understand it may be hard for people to believe what I just said, because Ashton Hall is the biggest creator in the niche right now, and he's simultaneously being made fun of online. But I want you to pay attention to what exactly he's being made fun of. For example, people are laughing at the way he jumped into the pool, and people are also laughing at the part in his video where someone tosses him a watermelon right after he's done playing basketball. And these specific moments are seen as over the top and cringy.
I kid you not, bro. I was really in the air for 4 minutes. That way they can go in and they can see, okay, this is structured out and it's working. So looking at it, bro, we got to go ahead and get in at least 10,000. Appreciate you, bro. Thank you.
No one is really questioning the fact that he works out, runs a business, or follows a strict routine. The general public is simply laughing at some of the outrageous and over-the-top things that he does to go viral. And even though he's currently the most popular or well-known creator, he's not the first and he won't be the last, and this style of hyper-masculine lifestyle content has always, and most likely will always, be respected by other men because of how aspirational it is. On the other hand, male influencers like Drew Hall, who create realistic, casual lifestyle content, oftentimes don't receive the same level of respect or acceptance. And even though their videos are harmless and is more realistic to the life of an average man, their content is still dismissed as unmasculine. And it isn't because this type of content is inherently embarrassing. It's that their content itself defies the hyper-masculine standard, which makes them easy targets for ridicule. And as a result, the over-the-top morning routines, complete with using banana peels as skincare, dunking your face in ice baths, having a woman assist you every step of the way, and spending countless of hours exercising, have essentially become the blueprint for men who want to create and profit from lifestyle content without the fear of being labeled as too feminine, which naturally leads to their masculinity being questioned. The elephant in the room here is that what is considered acceptable for men and women still falls into strict traditional boxes of masculinity and femininity. Femininity as a whole in society is often seen as weaker and is less respected. So being a boy or a man and getting associated with having feminine traits, or even being perceived as feminine, is treated as a flaw that must be avoided or pushed back against. And even for women, while certain masculine traits like ambition or assertiveness might be praised, there's still a limit. A woman who is seen as too masculine risks having her femininity questioned or even her identity as a woman challenged. So even in content creation where social media is supposed to be a space for self-expression and building community, these rigid gender expectations still shape the kind of content that people are allowed to make. And unfortunately, the same gender norms that subject female streamers and gamers to harassment and belittlement online also lead to male lifestyle influencers being ridiculed and dismissed. Instead of having the freedom to share normal lifestyle content without any backlash, many men face the pressure to adopt a hyper-masculine aesthetic just to be taken seriously. And it only reinforces the very damaging idea that anything remotely feminine is inferior and that men need to constantly prove their masculinity in order to gain social acceptance, especially by other men. And with that being said, this does bring me to the end of my video. If you made it this far, thank you so much for watching. These are just my thoughts, and I'd love to know yours down in the comment section below. Remember to like this video, it really helps with the algorithm, and if you enjoyed this one, then kindly check out some of my other videos and subscribe for more content on the way. Again, thank you so much for watching, and hopefully I'll catch you in my next video.